Are we on? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Microphone check. Lights. Cameras.
This is swanky. This is lifestyle. This is culture. Welcome to the social center of everything culture. Culture Daily.
We are just updating ourselves with the music, all right? Staying focused on the music, and that's what matters to us. You're still locked on to Culture Daily. It's time for our big conversation, and let me say thanks to all the callers who called in this morning and given us all the, our flowers. We take it, we like it. Thank you very much for those thought-provoking conversations we'll be having here. And this morning, such convos matter to us, so we're going to be getting deeper inside. Also, let me say speedy recovery to our CEO, Madam Rash, and to Serial as well. Serial's owner is the mosquito. That there's a new mosquito in town. I don't know if you guys have heard I was saying. Yes, it was announced this morning that they've seen some around Nima and around DC. I'm sure one of those mosquitoes a bit Serial. But anyway, so you're just kidding. Get well soon, my brother. Before we get into the convo real quickly, let me just say that from the Connect smartwatch to Afro Shorts, which actually sounds like heaven in your ears, okay, to the Strom headsets that give you the choice of vibing to the best tunes, wired or wireless, they've got you. Now, you can also get the stylish Stud 100 Bluetooth speakers for your outdoor events. Is that loud? I tell you, Cora is here to meet every vibe. Now, the best part is that it has long-lasting battery, okay? And it's stylish enough to meet your fashion sense as well. It's affordable and friendly for both Androids and iOS. Cora wearables are the ticket to your effortless tech savvy living as well. Check out iPlayCora.com. That's iPlay. The Cora is Kora, and let's redefine your style one beat at a time. Cora, it is a vibe. And also, every time you eat, food and sugars, I beg your pardon, are trapped between your teeth. Now, it leads to tooth decay and sometimes gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath. Now, you need to brush your teeth every day and every night with Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, because it gives you your teeth the protection it needs, leaving you with 10 times stronger teeth. It's fortified with pro-fluoride and microcalcium ingredients that seals tiny and invincible holes in your teeth and prevents cavities, keeps your teeth strong and your mouth very, very healthy as well. And like they say, Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, maximum cavity protection 10 times stronger. An exciting time to be on Yango. I'll give you more updates on what you can do with Yango this morning if you're first time user. Today being Tuesday, guess what? Tunnel Lounge is open with the bachata dance. Enjoy. You can switch the rhythm of the bachata dance. It happens every Tuesday at Tunnel Lounge. You can go there to make reservations, book for your parties, your private events, meetings, stuff like that. Trust me, Tunnel Lounge is the place to be. The booking number is 0551 556 444 0551 556 444, or go onto their website tunnellounge.com if you want more information. All right, so yesterday a conversation stemmed out of what we were discussing, and in the past couple of days we've been trying to understand the position and the mindset of the fan or the music consumers, and what kind of role they play in the music agenda, or their impacts on the creative process of a lot of the musicians, on musicians, as well as the products they churn out. So we've identified the fan as a key player in the space. We may think that the fan is just a consumer just listening, but the fans have opinions, and sometimes these opinions are shared directly or indirectly, placing either necessary or unnecessary stress on the creative process or thinking of the artist, hence what we churn out as the Ghanaian music. Later on, we'll be talking about the identity of Ghanaian music, but today we want to explore the preferences of Ghanaians. Now, are we drawn to songs with substance, and the substance and essence, like what Brenner Boy said recently, that sparked the world or got Africa talking about Afro beats? Are we drawn to songs with substance? And it means, are we drawn to songs that have got meaning? You know how you listen to Boys to Men and they're saying end of the road, and you're listening to Craig Davis 7 Days, and you're listening to let me just get a little hip hop. You listen to some Jay-Z and he's busting some lines that you would just want to repeat over and over again, or some Rick Ross is saying something. music that has got some substance and some meaning that is very relatable because it speaks to your soul? Or are we just drawn to music with just hype? It is a conversation this morning we're going to be having with my brother Kofi Beatman. Is live in the studio this morning. Kofi, welcome to the show. The show, I beg your pardon. I say slow.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Relax.
The relax is for who, please.
Kofi again. Relax. Kofi, thanks for short notice. Honoring a short notice invitation.
Charlie, you guys know I'm just a call away. I'm a big fan. I follow a lot of what you guys do.
We appreciate it. It's persons like you that position us and make us number one in these conversations. Deep throat sauce. Deep throat sauce. Yes. He's gotten the X community talking.
Yes, sir.
In fact, today the two of you should be our guests because you are both dealing with fans in different. You are dealing with digital fans and you are dealing with on-ground fans, and you have different, approach to how to in understanding how the fans think. Lenny and I will play the devil's advocate here this morning.
Thank you for taking me off.
So, first off, even before we just jump into that bit of the conversation, let me just ask you, are you also in the same space of understanding the impact of the fans in the creative process of the artist's music?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't have conversations like this without, speaking about the fans, okay? But then again, I also have a question that I want to ask you. Are they fans or they are just an audience? Because there's a difference.
Let's talk about the fans.
Okay.
Oh, no. Sorry, let's use the audience.
In the digital space, some of these two get easily conflated.
Okay.
Right? Because an audience would know your popular song. They don't know you. It's different for me to stream till date, right? If I love an artist really, really, really well, like if I love their music or what they do, I go beyond streaming their stuff.
Okay.
I'll look for merch. If they have vinyl, I'll buy vinyl. You understand? Just as paraphernalia. But I also play vinyl as well. So it adds that extra touch to it because, this is somebody I really love. I love what you do. I want to support you. You understand? So it's easy for somebody to have 700K followers on IG, but can barely sell 500 tickets. There's a problem.
The table is breaking.
So
The table.
Kofi just shook the table.
no, it is what it is.
Yes.
The audience know your popular song, and they are willing to jump on the next hot thing, right? The fan knows what happened to you to inspire you to write that song the way you wrote it. Okay, they probably have a poster on their wall. They're probably buying a perfume because they know that's your branded perfume or that's your preference. You like using that particular cologne or perfume.
Okay,
that's a fan.
Okay, so now that you've highlighted the two, which I'm very glad you've brought this, this awareness. Let's use both in this context: the audience impact on the artist's creative process, and then the fans' impact on the artist's creative process. Before we come down to, are we following clouds? Are we chasing clouds, or are we listening to substance? Because yesterday, when we spoke, for example, I had mentioned artists like Trigmatic, artists that were decided to do very, very deep music that related to our culture. If you listen to Trigmatic's what does he call it? Is it Seventh Sense or something? I've gotten the EP's title. Yeah, he's got something. Yeah, he played around with the senses.
Yeah.
Such. Yes. This isn't regular commercial music, but it is deep music. And if you want a true representation of who the African is, it is that vibe. It is that music. But he may not get the same attention. It's like the Brimos and Co. They may not get the same attention. Eighth Element. I beg your pardon. Yeah, Eighth Element. That's the title of the album, right? Or EP. Eighth Element. They may not get that attention, but actually, these songs are the songs that when you just go into the white Western community, they feel it is who you are and you are original. Hence, you have the likes of the Woyales and the band, the Santrofe, the bands you work with. They are touring the globe, but we're not talking about them back home. So let's come back before we even get there. Let's come back to now the impact of the fan and the audience in the creative process of the musician. Okay. Are they having any impact, and what kind of impact are they having?
Yes and no. And I'll say this because I think sometimes I'm an artist myself. I do a lot of creative things. I think sometimes we get so we get so within ourselves that we fail to realize that if you made a certain kind of music or a certain type of music for a while that tackled specific subjects, you know, as part of the content, and you had a number of people vibing to that, and you switch gears, you don't expect them to follow you. You lose some along the way. It's normal. Which is why we need a perfect intersection of marketers, business-minded people, so on and so forth. And sometimes it's perfectly fine if you don't have a lot of your core fan base vibing to something new that you did. You know, I know the economies, the economies of it is such that you'd want the same gratification as a result. But you need to take people on a journey. Okay, you have artists who have switched genres, right? And you'd realize that artists who are like big artists, like very successful artists, who just like go left and the fans follow them, they have fans, not an audience. You understand? But usually you would want to take people on like a slow journey. You understand? Like you need to pick. You take Beyonce for instance. She just put out a dance record, and the Beehive were like raving. Very different from what she did. And her last few projects, she's done the same thing. She did Afrobeats. Her fans came along with her because she has fans. You
Not
understand? Don't mess with most of what you do. Not an audience. So that's one thing worth keeping in mind. Another thing is also to take people on a journey. You understand? You vibe slow. You know what I mean? And so I think some of these things have to be thought out. If you understand your fans, you will know for certain
so clearly the fans have like they seem to have a more stronger
that's another reason for strategic collaborations, for instance. You understand?
Right.
If I do an audit and I realize that my core fan base may not mess with a certain direction that I want to head towards, there's a potential for me to make certain business decisions to start tapping into a potential market that I'm here to target and hopefully bring a chunk of my fans along with me. That's why some people do certain collaborations. These things are business decisions, not just creative decisions, you know. So you need, it's a balancing act, you know, and you need the right-minded people who really understand metrics and analytics. And okay, so I'll give you a classic example. I think Olile and I actually had this conversation a couple of years ago. I think a year or 2 years ago. In 2021, Medical's core fan base for Airplay were saturated in Takoradi.
Yep.
Almost 70% of them. Nationwide.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'd mentioned that before.
Yes. You see, so it is the responsibility of Medical and his team to understand what about his image, his brand, his message, his music that is resonating specifically or particularly with people in Takoradi. Very likely it's spearheaded by specific DJs who are just like diehard MDK fans. But it has a ripple effect. Okay? So what does that mean when you're looking at it from a national perspective, like from Ghana as a whole? Okay, how are we going to replicate this in Kumasi? How are we going to do this in Wale Wale?
I was just about to ask that when you identify a stronghold, maybe as an artist, do you go to the stronghold to keep activating there, or do you try? Should you try? Because it's a it's a do or die affair. Do you go to your the other areas where you may not have that much presence and try and build presence there and have trust that it's okay in Takoradi for me, so let me hold on with that?
I think it's a bit of both. Because if you have diehard fans there, why are you not doing sold out events in Takoradi? But in that same vein, why wouldn't you try create something that can create a similar phenomenon in Tamale? So even before we even talk about the conversation of artists who are not necessarily very, very commercial by virtue of what they do, there's a flip side to that coin. All of a sudden, we woke up one day, Fancy Gadam won Artist of the Year. Was it Artist of the Year or?
No, it wasn't Artist of the Year.
No,
it wasn't Artist of the Year. It was
with the Saturday collaboration, right?
No,
Was it that
no,
song?
no. The first time he came, he got in the national conversation. It wasn't Artist of the Year, sorry. It was.
I forget the title.
I think it was the
but that was what
Vodafone.
also gave him a lot of eyeballs and stuff. No, he didn't win Unsung.
It wasn't Unsung.
I forget
Unsung was
we'll
later.
check.
I've totally
I'll
forgotten.
check here.
But do you remember the song?
It's
I
the
can't
title I'm
remember.
trying to remember.
I can't remember the song.
Okay, let's.
We'll find it.
But he he won that award from arguably one of the most prestigious, like, and the longest running,
Music
award
award
scheme
schemes.
in Ghana. And he got people talking. People are like, where's this guy from? Which song he sing? Charlie, but the guy had consistently sold out stadia up north.
New Artist of the Year.
New Artist of the Year. Thank you for that.
2017, in 2017.
You understand? Now, in 2011, I was working at this, wasn't music related. It was an auditing project I was doing. And it took me not only around Ghana, but around Africa. And it opened my eyes to a totally different world. I went to Tamale. Unfortunately, I arrived in Tamale, I think around 1 a.m. Or probably about 12 midnight. So the hotel I was lodging in, I was starving. The kitchen had closed. And the guy said, there's a nightclub not too far from here. They have very good food. So if you're really starving and you need to eat, you'd have to just, look good. Let's go to the nightclub. You pay, enter, you can get anything you want to eat. And that was the best experience I had had. This was in 2011. I got into the nightclub. The place was packed. A majority of the music being played there was a mix of the regular American pop, the hip-hop, R&B, that was hot at the time. The sax and, the guys who were now popping. And a lot of local artists who were making waves in the north. The DJ was playing from CDs. At the time, we had left CDs behind. We're now using the PC DJs, the Tractors and Serato and So I walked to the DJ booth because the guy was doing an amazing job. His dream at the time was to leave Tamale, come to Accra to work for Choice FM. Because he had heard about Choice FM and so on and so forth. Now, Charlie, the scratches and the mix this guy was doing was nearly on the level of a DJ Black. Nobody knew this guy. And I realized that Accra...
now?
I lost touch with contact, but I did connect him with some people in Choice. I don't know how that worked out, but the sad thing was I realized that Accra is not Ghana, and these guys have a totally separate system that is not in line or connected in any way or form to what we are seeing in Accra, in Kumasi, and maybe in Sunyani if you're lucky. It's the same with Kumasi. J. Foley, I knew you from our days in Kumasi.
Yeah.
Right? The Asaka movement we are seeing today has been around. It's been, it went by different names, different styles, but they always had that community of die-hard hip-hop guys who put their local Kumasi and Ashanti spin to it. It's been there for more than 20 years. Ghana is now catching up to it. For crying out loud, it took even the late, what's his name? Off-White, what's his name? Virgil,
yeah.
To put a spotlight on them. Before Virgil did, Olele, you might not remember. Actually, you should, because you're very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
There was a time Ghanaians were actually roasting them.
Yeah. That I remember.
Then all of a sudden, Virgil is like, nah, these guys are fire. These guys are cool. And, everybody start change face. We start change more. Yeah. Kweku DMC and Yao Tog, and we're mentioning all these names.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite sad. I think this conversation is actually focusing on the symptoms, but not tracing it down to the fundamental cause or the roots of it. And it starts from, or it's a symptom that is possible or that we are experiencing as a result of a lack of a proper policy on culture, period.
Okay, go ahead.
Kofi, do you think there's a confusion for these artists as to who their fans and their audiences are? Because what it will be for me is doing the checks, finding your core fans and playing to their music, right? Because then you would want them to accept you, and by extension accept your music, and then after that accept any other thing that comes out of the brand.
I think so. I think we have lots of confusions from the differences between an audience and a fan, and what really amplifies it or what really makes it a bit tricky is the fact that we are actually living in a digital era, which is weird because almost everybody's on social media, right? But it's crazy because the fact that we all have social media accounts doesn't mean we really understand the way the platforms work.
Yeah.
Because all the platforms are different. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, during COVID, out of boredom, I enlisted for some random online social media marketing class. And it just took my socks off. Why? Because they're like, if you are marketing a product or a service, or you're a creative person, and your target audience is probably between the ages of, say, 13 to 38, or maybe 13 to like 40. Classic example would be like a music artist, right? If you're posting on Twitter, this was in COVID was when 2020. 2020. If you're posting on Twitter and you want to target certain people in North America, the best times to post is between specifically 4:30 and like I think was it 6 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. It was that specific, right? Now we'll go on Instagram. I'm not like a marketing guru or anything, but I do know some marketing, right? I'll tell you something. You see certain people with like 2 million followers. They post a picture, 24 or 250 likes. Some way. Okay?
Yeah.
250 likes, 15 comments. There's a difference between impressions,
The reach,
and there's a difference between
engagement.
the reach,
Impressions.
the impressions,
the engagement.
and the engagement. As much as possible, you would want to prioritize your communication, your interaction with people to sort of encourage more engagement instead of impressions. Okay, your impression can be, okay, J. Foley is selling t-shirts. Okay, then I scroll to the next thing. I don't go as far as liking the t-shirt because I connect to J. Foley, on a certain level, and I go beyond that to visit his web shop. Oh, the t-shirt says be how much? 250 CDs. Okay, I don't have 250 CDs of disposable income that I can buy today, but I'll bookmark it. So next month, on Friday, I'll purchase it. That's what you want to do. Okay, so we keep confusing the two, and I think it's a bit problematic, which is weird because ideally, you want to create experiences for people. Music is an experience. Okay, the live show is an experience. Okay, and there are certain things we take for granted. How you present yourself is an experience. So the confusion there be deep, because I come from a branding standpoint, right? Design, branding, advertising, right? You'll see a nice artist and they look a certain kind of way, but it doesn't connect with the sort of music they are making. It's a problem. Your brand is your sound. Your presentation, your logo, your color,
All those things.
are supposed to be lampooned or derived from the DNA of your sound. When you look nice, you cut the mohawk, you dye them, you pierce, do some tattoo. Every day they wear pink some way. After every 5 steps in your walk, there's a bounce. It be packaging, you understand? But if it doesn't connect to the sound, then you're hustling backwards. You're doing it wrong. You see?
So we see these artists come up and churn out all these creative approaches to their music. Like I mentioned, they don't fashion and all those things. Now I want to drill it real down to be it substance or clout, and which one the fan. Because now we have a fair understanding that there's an audience and then there's a fan. There's a loyal person and there's a passerby, who just chances upon your stuff.
Yeah.
So now looking because it seems problematic that, wow, we have all these good songs in Ghana. We've heard numerous artists are churning out real good, deep sound. But Kofi, what we don't understand is it that the Ghanaian doesn't know that this is good sound, or I'd rather hail what is crap, the chaff, and blow that one high up in the sky, which doesn't get anywhere, because when the other countries present what is classic, their fans and their audience follow the classic, and then we end up not being able to compare what we have to what they have. Because the thing is that you cannot tell me, I don't mean you, I mean Ghana cannot tell me that from January to now, and correct me if I'm wrong, from January to now, all the over 100 artists we have in this country haven't produced music that is sweet enough to gain the same level of prominence that maybe Promise or Blacko have achieved in this past, because minus Blacko and Promise and minus Sark and Stonebwoy, who have released in recent times, where is the other 999,000 artists left who have produced music? How come their songs are not on the global market or on our big lips, even if it's not outside the borders of this country, on the radio? Because they are there. So is it the fans who are consuming the music are not knowledgeable about us, about what good music is, or there's a disease or a cancer that is going on in our lives now that will not accept anything that is good and rather heal something that is not? I don't get it.
Charlie, this is a very simplistic approach to it. And my reason for saying it is it's a bit of both. But there's also, you mentioned some names, and those names are affiliated to some major labels or major structures of sorts that have deep pockets. And when they invested in these artists, they had to do whatever it took to ensure that it brought money back.
Let me hold you and push you again.
Right.
Further. Let's push the investor away.
Right.
Let's put them aside.
Right.
Good is good, and good should sell itself. So minus that investor.
Yes and no. Times have changed.
What is happening? Because what makes it tough is that we simply turn down good. It's like, wow. It's like, it's nice. We don't like it.
Jay, you threw me a curveball. I'll throw one back to you. Yes, I do agree. We have a lot more decent music than is out there.
Yeah.
Right. But the media also has a very crucial role to play in that.
Thank you.
Okay? Because we fail to realize there's a cognitive... Music is a spiritual thing. And I tell people this all the time. And these are conversations I have with musicians all the time. I say music is one of the art forms that reorients the mind of the listener without their permission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's a cognitive aspect to this. All of us sitting here in this room have had an experience or two when you're stuck in traffic, maybe your radio is broken or whatever, and there's a song that you considered crap, you didn't enjoy as much, right? And when you keep hearing it on repeats, next thing you see, you're tapping your feet. That's the power of music. So when people say, oh, Ghana 4 Kwasi, I blame the media entities, very much so. Because when we keep bombarding people with this, it shapes their tastes. You are taste makers. Whether you accept it or not.
No, it's the truth.
Which is why I keep blaming, I'll come back to policy. If we have a proper policy on culture, there will be aspects in that policy that would have branches that sorts of direct all cultural expressions, music included. You understand? So they'll teach music at the basic school level. I'll talk about even quality and this whole... you and I were having a conversation, before we entered the studio. And there are dire implications of this. You understand? I know for a fact, if Jay Foley decides to go back to music again, all right, he will do better than most of his peers or people who have been doing it for years. Why? Because he plays instruments. Why? So he has a wide music palette he can pick from. Okay? Now, there are two key things that hits people when they hear music for the first time. The melody. If I'm in an Uber on my way here, the guy turns on the radio, there's a song, I can't recognize the artist, or perhaps I don't even know the artist. I'll try keep the thing in my head. Oh, boss, it be who way they sing. Oh, I don't know. I come and say, Charlie J. Foley, I heard some song that went da 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 da. That's the melody, right? Or the beat, the rhythm. Now, as a record producer, I can tell you for a fact, in the last maybe 5 years, our melodic expression in our music isn't as catchy.
I am with you, my brother.
That's a problem. Now, why is that so? Because you have a truncated or a restricted melodic vocabulary.
Yes.
So how can you compete with somebody who's very formulaic, very predictable? After a while, it gets boring. So if somebody brings something that is more interesting, melodically, I'll gravitate towards that. You understand?
Would you say that's the reason Ghanaians easily gravitated towards
It's
Black
one of
Sherif?
the reasons. It's one of the reasons.
Yes.
Black Sherif does what he
Yes.
does, but people, but you know, there's a crucial aspect of Black
Yes.
Sherif nobody is having conversations about.
Black Hope brought a new sound.
Thank you.
We didn't even realize it. He brought a new sound. We
And
didn't even know that the
you know
sound
the
was
DNA
new.
Now we needed that.
And the DNA of Black Hole's sound is in High Life and Yumkro.
Right.
So why don't we have artists who choose to do R&B, who choose to do reggae or whatever it is, but the cadence that informs the music is from something else? When you're not that connected, you know, when I was sitting out there, you know, in the lobby waiting for the show to start, a friend of mine shared a video of Burna Boy, and the tag was the number of times Burna Boy has stolen from Fela. And there were like 12 different songs. So they'll show the Burna Boy video, or they'll play the audio and play the corresponding Fela thing. And it was on this platform, like there's a platform on WhatsApp I'm a part of, and somebody shared it. And after watching it, people were bashing, yeah, Burna Boy no be original, that'd be why Brimo did something. Apparently Brimo, you know, made a statement not too long ago about Burna Boy. And I said, guys, all I see when I watch this is an artist who is deeply informed about the music traditions from the culture he's from. And he's doing whatever it takes to push the sound forward, to make it progressive. I can't say the same about us, unfortunately. You can't sell Jay-Z to Jay-Z and Yankee. It's idiocy. You need to go there with a new bag of tricks. Okay?
Yeah.
My man, you from Volta. Over 15 years, I've been documenting a lot of music that is being lost. Okay? I started it for my own selfish interest. And I realized that this thing is bigger than me. Among the Ewe tribes alone, they have more than 150 drum patterns. Why are we not tapping into that? A couple of years ago, Kuvi produced a brilliant song for Lady J. What was the title? Do you remember? I beg, something. It was like a hip hop type, highly percussive thing. The rhythm underneath that thing was Akbaja, but people didn't realize it because it was so brilliantly executed. That's one of my favorite Lady J songs. I think that was a song that like really brought her like to the fore. This was probably like 2015, 2016. You know, brilliant. 150 drum patterns. We haven't come to the Akans, we haven't come to the Gans, we haven't come to the Grunsi.
This is just on with the Voltarians.
Just the Voltarians alone.
Jesus.
You see, so apart from Nkrumah's government, I don't think we've had a government that was intentional about a policy on culture. Osajifo will travel to a cold country and he'll fly to Ma. And you travel with 9 different bands. So if it was a big band and they had like 9 or 12 musicians, roadies and a manager, 9 of them to sell high life music. You need to be intentional. We've had Year of Return. Oh, the other day I was reading about Taiwan, about how they actually fused different traditions to create a unique meal to sell the country because they understand the value of culture capital. In Ghana, we're arguing about jollof. Whose jollof was the better, Ghanaian or Nigerian? And jollof is originally owned by the Senegalese and the Gambians. Yeah. The Gambians and Senegalese, jollof be them a thing. But we say the rice way we they take do the jollof. We don't even produce it locally. It's imported. So that conversation is a non-starter. People travel to Ghana, Year of Return. All they're hearing is foreign music. I think there's a problem. A proper policy on culture will shape education. It will shape media policy. Okay? So it means for you to get a license, you should be eligible by law to play a certain quota of homegrown Ghanaian music.
Yeah.
It is important.
Like how we hear the Nigerians did.
Exactly. From a business standpoint to what government, what are you giving back to the owners of 3 Music? Next year they are going to, what do you call it? Extend the license.
Yeah, renew
the license. You do an audit and realize that, instead of the 65 or 70, 75% quota of Ghanaian music, they played 80. Give them tax rebates. Do you understand?
You can imagine what will happen in this country.
Charlie, it be hand go hand
Somebody
come.
wake up in the morning and only play.
Niger has a policy of 75. Niger has a policy of 75% local content.
Yeah.
You need to be intentional. You understand? You can't just get up and you know it's a dog eats dog industry, because a lot of media entities actually run from proceeds from advertising revenue. You understand? So we need to shape the minds of the listeners to appreciate certain things, but also put measures in place to sort of be we need a standardized system, because we also have a lot of crap from Ghana. That truth, I mean, if it's the truth, it's the truth. We need something to filter, you know, to a certain level, because right now we live in a global world. Okay, you listen to a lot of. I think it was Olele was the one who called me. I left my phone. I saw like 5-7 missed calls. I said, "Hey, this guy, I know they owe him money. Why?" It was like, Charlie, have you heard a new Stone Boy single? This was Therapy. The time it came out. Yeah. And I remember during lockdown, you know, we used to have conversations. Charlie, we would talk for like 8 hours, Clubhouse and so on and so forth. And I was trying to explain to people that the quality of our productions and the engineering of our music can't compete globally. And when Olele heard Therapy, I think that was the eureka moment for him. When he drew the parallels, you know, I mean, linking past conversations to what he was hearing now. Because, Charlie, truth be told, we had not heard Stone Boy sound as good.
Yeah.
You know?
Therapy was different. It was a different.
And I think he released a single or two after that, and he didn't quite compete. So we need to also realize that to compete globally, okay, for people to give preference of our stuff over others, we also need to level up. If you call yourself an engineer, you need to understand frequencies. You don't just do something just because you have it on your computer.
So we have fed, when I say we, one, the media, and the creators, be the artists themselves, have been the ones feeding this dog called the fan and the audience for all these years. And they have created in their mindset a certain level and perception of what our music is supposed to be.
I agree. I think
then now the fan and the audience have now realized that, okay, wait, we have options. So they've started making comparisons of our products to what they're feeding out there.
Yes.
And now realizing that, oh, wait, there's better out there.
Yes.
This is not good.
If you have a chance and you don't get a crappy copy or an illegal upload of some old music compared to the quality of the music we produce today.
Okay. Kofi, hold on right there. Before you got me thinking, let me come to Olele on this now. Olele, you were very heavy on online. The attitude or the characteristics that the behavioral attitudes, behavior and characters that the fans, the digital fans and audience carry, are they in any different? Based on Kofi's pointers have been for both spectrum, both live audience and the the digital ones. Are they any different with what he's saying and what we see, how people react to new music? Because you have a dark who drop a brand new song, Echo. You listen to the song. This is like mind-blowing song.
Lovely song.
But you go and check the conversations on her TL, and it's minimal. Is it that people don't know? The digital people don't know that the song is nice.
So digital people don't know.
I'm just saying digital people.
Yeah, but if you look at her streams, I think she's done.
No. The streams are.
Yeah, so definitely digital people do know.
No, the streams. It's well. It
Maybe
is
she
okay
needs a
because
Virgil. She needs a Virgil
in
to say
comparison with
to push her, huh?
In comparison with previous songs, yes, you see 100,000 streams, yes, but we don't want 100,000 streams. I'm talking the big numbers because we're 31 million Ghanaians plus those.
Like Kofi said, it's a bit of both. I mean, we are dealing with a situation where we have to first of all fumigate the mindset of the Ghanaian.
Jesus.
Yes, it's an issue of communication.
Yeah. Shut it down.
Kofi shook the table. Olele has broken
he
broken the table. Honestly.
And I'm not even well. I'm not.
Is it Olele choose violence this morning? He
I
saw violence
could
and
see
peace
that.
and he
Yeah,
chose
it's-
He
violence.
clicked balance.
It's an unfortunate conversation, but it's we need to fumigate the mindsets, and the fumigation will start from us. That would, or when I say us, we here and those who are like-minded, who will pass on this knowledge to our sons and daughters, which would also lead to, because if you look at the demographics you're talking about here, the demographics listening to Dakoa, Esilfi, Ria Boss, and the likes are not your majority. You get it? They
That's
form
true.
part of the minority online. These are people who had access to internet at a very early stage of their lives. So they are able to influence the listenership or influence the listening culture of such songs. So a Dakoa or a Esilfi will be great. They will definitely get their popularity, but not now. Maybe 5, 6, 8 years from now. And it might not even just be a Dakoa. It might be another Dakoa. It might be, because by the time we've been able to slowly bring
shape taste.
shape, yeah, exactly. But as it stands now, you notice, like, no disrespect to our big S's and our front runners, they have been able to lead the pack for a very long time because the generation that put them there have found a way on the internet. They did not blow on the internet before going down to the grassroots.
Yeah.
So the grassroots that seems to have held them down have just had the opportunity to also come on the internet. The reason why the Sylphis and the rest are struggling is because they first found their audience on the internet and they are now trying to connect to the grassroots.
Olele, there's something I want to ask. You land.
Let's ask. We have a minute to go. Sadly,
You know, so
And- yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so
but
let's
ask
go.
it.
So I grew up on Legon campus,
Yeah.
right? And I remember seeing Bookback and all these guys come perform
Right,
at the various hall weeks,
right.
Charlie, for tech, we used to see similar things. Okay, artists who were now about to blow, artists who had blown. Data is expensive.
Very.
It's very much a luxury in these parts. We may not accept it, but it's the truth. Okay, so there's a thing to be said about people trying to find routes to connecting, to connect with their fans in real life. And you mentioned Rhea Boss. She does this open mic thing at
Yeah.
Jamestown Coffee.
Yeah,
But I think we need more and more of that.
yeah.
In our time, we had Bless the Mic and we had various platforms,
I think
several
we-
of them.
we-
So
we've
before
talked about this
Trigmatics,
before, the different platforms.
Stoneboy. The first time I saw Stoneboy, I actually made a beat, with a drum machine live on stage, and he freestyled to it for like 5 minutes. So we had systems that would sort of nurture people, and I think those systems are still crucial today.
Yeah.
because people need
The enabling platforms.
an extra reason to take preference over a particular artist over another because data they cost. So why should I stream more of Olili? Because he came to Volta whole week to blow us away there.
Yeah,
So I think digital is the future, but it's also very misleading. You understand? We need to have a system that sort of intersects and connect the real world with
Towards
the
out
digital
there, yeah.
and vice versa.
I'm gonna hold you to that thought and that statement. My eardrum is swollen with. We have to go. Digital is the future, and you added something to it.
but it could be misleading.
But it could be misleading.
It could easily be.
That is another space for us to look at. Kofi, I really wish that we could have extended this conversation, but
We should.
No. I'm going to be on your phone for tomorrow, the day after, the day after. We have to do that. But a lot of points I've picked up from this conversation this morning, and I've noted them down. Which the last is digital is the future, but it can be misleading. It's something that we're going to look into. Also, we'll be looking at things like taking the culture away from Accra, the risk, the risk factor, and what it could have been in
Right.
case another region where there was a major stakeholder in shaping our culture. Maybe with the Volta region. For all you know, it could have been better. Like you said, you mentioned all these rhythms coming out from the Volta region, and I'm asking myself again that where is the research in before we do the music?
Before you go,
Yes.
I'll ask you, what's the traditional music of the Ghan people? Since we're in Accra, we're on your land.
What is it? Pan Logo?
Pan-Logo.
It's not Pan Logo. Pan Logo
It's okay,
emerged
it's
in the
okay, it's okay,
1950s.
Don't shy me.
Tell us. You are shy. Me, that I'm going to actually work.
Yeah, gone.
Half.
You have
Now
gone.
she's off.
I'll leave it as homework for you, as an exercise.
Oh, Kofi, tell
No,
us.
no,
I'll be
tell us.
back. I don't want to start this conversation because
Okay.
it's really dense. You can't tell me the Ghana people
Yes.
did not have music before the late 1950s. Banlogo and Kulumashi, right? It came around the time we're fighting for independence.
So there was music
priority.
before.
Yes.
On
Question
that
for the
note,
gods.
Kofi has left us with homework, all of us. He will bring him back to answer this later on in the week. And Lenny has something to say real quickly. Lenny, go ahead.
Yes. I guys seen this beautiful bag.
Uh-huh.
Kwams was so kind to give me this bag because it matches
wow.
my dress. I just
Oh,
want to say
wow.
again, thanks to Kwams. He
Dope,
was
dope,
on
dope.
unpacking this morning, so it's really nice.
Shout
Thank
outs to you,
again.
Kwams.
Yeah.
Shout outs
out
to you.
bro. Well, on that note, our time is up. But definitely, Kofi's coming in again for a continuation on this conversation. We'll fix a date for you and let you know. My name
Yes,
is
sir.
Jay. It's Lenny. It's Olele. And shout out to Serial as well, who's a bit under the weather. We're back same time tomorrow on that Wednesday. Wicked
Get
Wild.
well soon, bro.
Yes, edition of Culture Daily. And we out.